Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dice on Ice. My name is Em, and it is Tuesday, Strahd Day, episode 33, The Four Riders. Welcome, everyone, and let's get started with a bit of a recap. So, Strahd had invited them all to dinner, and either reluctantly, pretty well, all reluctantly, they came to Strahd's castle in order to see what he has to say, maybe finally face their adversary. And upon going there, it might have been a bit not what they were expecting. As soon as they walk in, they see there's this huge party going on, and they are ushered in. They visit with Strahd. Strahd plays some crazy mind games with them, asks them a bunch of questions, does reveal a little bit of information, but eventually gets out the fact that the thing that he wants them to do right now is to kill Rictavio, otherwise known as Van Richten, a famed vampire hunter. The players had met him in Vallaki before, didn't know, not under the name of Van Richten, though I do believe that he did eventually reveal that, but they did know him as Rictavio, and so they do know of him, and Strahd wants him gone. And so we are going to begin with where we left off. Jean, you had just rejected Strahd and left, I believe, the ballroom, and Strahd, kind of unsure, this confusion, genuine, it seems, confusion washes over his face as he turns back to the partner that he was with and continues on dancing as if nothing had happened. Jean, where are you going? Or what are you doing as you leave?
That is a very good question. I believe that we are on our way out of the castle, are we not? If I might not be remembering correctly.
No, we did end off with Fel and Eli were dancing in the ballroom. There's a bunch of people in there. They're all dancing, and you had left. Keep in mind that Strahd did say that he would welcome you for the night to have you stay in his castle and then take you out riding tomorrow.
I think that Jean would be wandering the halls of the castle, away from the ballroom or the main room that this dancing is going on in, somewhere more quiet. Imagining almost like that Jean is being led almost by her own memories rather than any kind of active force. Just wandering these halls as if she's been here before.
All right, yeah, and as you wander, you find some interesting inconsistencies. You find that it appears as though Strahd has put in some effort to clean and to refurnish the areas that he probably assumed you would stay at. But as you wander, as you maybe go into places where he did not quite intend, you see the ruin, you see the dust, you see the decay, the smell of stale air greets your nose as you look into different rooms. There's cobwebs and there's paint that is peeling, where in the rooms that you were in, though maybe not uninviting or maybe not so inviting, was at least pristine. And it doesn't take very long before you are stopped by the butler that had welcomed you in to Strahd's place. And he gives you this very wide, toothy grin. And maybe it's just your imagination, but maybe there might be a few flecks of blood on his face and neck area but you can't quite be sure in this lighting. He pauses, kind of stands in your way. Master Strahd does not appreciate his guests wandering unchaperoned throughout the castle.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind one.
I have been given express instructions to show you to your bedchambers for the evening. Will you come with me?
Very well.
You see him nod. A bit of relief washes over his eyes, and he begins to lead you on like this ever winding way, seemingly room after room that leads nowhere, winding stairs that you couldn't possibly remember the way back. But if you would like to, you can just give me a survival roll. If you would like, if you're trying to remember.
Big old 14.
So it is, you remember a little bit. You think that it doesn't quite stick into your mind as well as you might have liked. Not so much that you could maybe trust yourself to get yourself back, but you do begin to recognize that there is a certain pattern to where he's walking, and you can get the general sense of where you are. He pauses and to switch out he was carrying a bit of a lantern with him, and he hangs it up in replace for a more of a candled sconce, and he looks to you. I do believe I haven't introduced myself properly. My name is Rahadin. And he does like a little bow.
Pleased to meet you, Rahad. How did you come to be in Strahd's service?
I am one of Strahd's oldest and most experienced servants. I've had the privilege to be in his service for many, many years.
Do you like it here?
He pauses at that, kind of mulling over his words. As long as I am needed, as long as my master is in need of me, I will be there. As to the predicament that my master is in, I am not pleased.
And what predicament is that?
Well, being trapped here, of course.
He says he's trapped. Do you believe it?
Of course. No great warlord such as him would stay in one place for so long.
And where would he go? If he were not shackled, as it were.
If my memory serves, he was heading east before being waited here. Just east. He had already conquered all the lands to the west, as you see. And there was nowhere to go but east. Too? Sorry?
Is he trying to conquer the sun?
I cannot say. He's a brilliant mind. And he like trails off as if he was going to say something, but then he kind of looks at you as if he's like remembering who he's talking to. And you'll have to excuse me. It's been so long since we've had guests such as yourselves. And by this time you've gotten to your room and he opens the door for you. Your room, madam.
Thank you.
There'll be somebody here in the morning to fetch you. If you are in need of anything, please, there is a bell just beside your bed there. Ring it and someone will be up quickly.
Of course. And what is the state of this bedchamber?
You see that it is indeed pristine, like the others, though you can see the hastiness of it. The air still smells extremely stale, but the bed is probably the most luxurious bed you have ever seen, and the comforters and the canopy on this bed are a scarlet red.
Looks beautiful. Smell, however.
Yes, unfortunately, there are just some things that cannot be removed. Unfortunately. My apologies, and my master's apologies as well, I'm sure.
Are all the rooms like that?
All the rooms are... all the rooms are made to their residents' liking.
No, the staleness.
Ah, well. Yes. This is a very old castle, Jean.
Perhaps it was not built right. Not enough windows.
Perhaps not. I'm sure you'll be able to tell the master all of this, all of your opinions, when you go riding with him tomorrow.
Perhaps. I'd be curious to hear them.
I'm sure
Does he
he's
listen to your
delighted.
opinions?
Of course. He listens. He makes a decision. And it is usually one of logical reasoning.
Not one of care.
He just smiles again. Good night. And he would leave.
And Jean will just try to crack open the window, I guess, to let the air in, to reduce the staleness in the air.
You're gonna have to make me a strength saving throw because these babies are shut.
Well,
not saving throw, athletics check, sorry, or strength check.
Athletics doesn't even know better. It was going to be a big 17, but now it's a 9 because of my because the die just like rolled over. So it's held fast.
They're stuck. Yeah, you cannot get them open. Corla, Jean has left you alone in the ballroom. You see Eli and Fel dancing along with the others of this. Some of them are looking at you and eyeing you, but nobody approaches. What would you like to do?
I would glare at some of the ones that are looking at me if they look too long, and then I would move to another spot, probably glare some more. Eventually I will get bored and I will go wander.
Excellent. And as you wander, I need you to roll me a d20, please.
Oh dear. It's an 18.
You hear the wind whistling through some of the cracks in this castle, and similar to Jean, it is, you can see the facade cracking, breaking, but you see no one. Do you wander for very long? You do I will say you probably get the idea of if you go through these winding things enough, you may get lost.
I think she would head upstairs, actually, look for where there's more likely to be rooms of, like, for the guests, etc. Because I'm more interested in snooping about those and seeing what else is there and how many people actually are going to be staying here with us.
All right, so as you are wandering, you find a room with a portrait. You walk in. This is maybe the first or the second room that you walk into. The first room doesn't really have anything of note. It looks like it's no one has stayed in there for a very, very long time, and it is clearly not made up. But the other room that you eventually walk into it has this deep emerald green covers and blankets and mahogany dressers and drawers, and the curtains have all been drawn. There is a fire going on in the fireplace, and it feels warm against your skin. Above this fireplace, you see a picture of Irina standing beside somebody who very oddly looks like Strahd, but younger, like a younger features, and some of the features aren't quite right.
Intrigued, I will approach said portrait and see if I can get better look.
Yeah, and as you go closer, you can tell immediately that it is definitely not Strahd. It is someone else who is probably very closely related, and I'm sure that you can gather with the knowledge that you know about the Sun Sword and the fact that he looks younger, that this is Sergei, Strahd's younger brother, standing next to who looks exactly like Irina.
Interesting. I will look around the rest of the room to see if there's anything else of note or interest here. Like
you look around. Yeah, there's the bed. You look around and you keep thinking that you see something in the peripheral of your vision, movement, a shadow, something lurking, but as soon as your eyes turn, they're gone. And you hear a muttering behind you eventually. In the shadows, you hear the smell. I can't stand the smell. And you see a small figure crouched in the corner.
Who is there?
You should leave. Master said we weren't allowed to touch you. We weren't allowed to drink. I can't. You need to leave now. And as you do you walk closer?
No, at that,
okay.
I think I back out of the room.
Yeah, you really, in the shadows, you can only see them as like this crouched silhouette.
Yeah, definitely make haste. I don't turn around. I'm keeping eyes on the little bit that I can see, and back up towards the door. And I will make my exit and slam the door behind me if I can.
Yeah, you continue to hear muttering and just this person talking to themselves. Do you continue on down the corridor?
I'm a bit shaken. I'm thinking no. I'll try to find my way back to the the ballroom if I can, if I haven't got myself too terribly lost.
Yeah, certainly. Make me a... I guess survival? Is that... I think that's usually the one that you take to, like, not be lost. So yeah, make me a survival check.
Oh, yeah. I was really paying attention to where I was going. That is a 21.
Nice. You managed to navigate where you're going, where you were. You recognize many of the landmarks, and you find yourself back in the ballroom. And then Eli and Fel, you're dancing. You see the others who are also dancing with you, including Strahd, but I think he appears as though he makes special mind to leave you alone, to not even look in your direction. He appears to be engrossed in conversation with the partner he is dancing with. Do you talk? Do you just spend this time dancing?
I think we're both waiting to see if the other one's going to talk. I feel like that's what Eli and Fel are probably doing, just quietly dancing. Eli maybe occasionally looking up at Fel, almost like, and just keep dancing. Not really sure what to say.
I think like probably after the third or fourth attempt by Eli to start some kind of conversation, Fel would just shake her head and say, firstly, you dance surprisingly well. Secondly, what did you want to say something? Go ahead and speak. Also watch your foot. And she's going to kind of move her foot out of the way just to avoid getting stepped on.
Surprisingly well for what?
For a, I don't know.
For a dwarf?
That has spent most of his time on the road.
I remember I used to lead a congregation at a temple.
In dance? Did you dance a lot in temple?
Not in temple per se, but there were many a harvest festival where yours truly was auctioned off at the harvest dances, along with other eligible bachelor types in the town.
Ah, I see.
It was all innocent.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
Completely above board. I mean, we were a church, for crying out loud.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, it's been a while. But, yeah.
Well, she kind of looks around, notices that Corla and John are both gone. Looks like the others have, I guess, retired for the evening. We don't have to keep dancing if you don't want. I was going to say, if we can find them, we should probably all try to congregate in like a single room, because I have seen enough bard troupe performances and read enough scripts of watered Dahavian plays to know that you sleep alone in a scary castle and something terrible happens to you. So, let's not let that happen. Stop shaking your head at us, random dancer.
No.
Well, I think you're right. We could probably retire to wherever these rooms are that have been set aside for us. And you're probably right that we probably shouldn't spend the night alone. I was thinking John and Corla are pretty close. I imagine
it's
if they've
weird, right? Like,
well,
sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say, they've got this rapport, this built-in friendship, and if they disappeared already, chances are they've probably gone somewhere together and are just need their alone time together. So they're not going to be alone, per se. They'll be with each other, so we don't necessarily need to find them, but we also don't necessarily need to go to our rooms alone.
Right. That's what I was suggesting, that we don't room alone. I imagine there you can't really tell if it's because of the dancing or because of the comments, but there's like a little bit of pink in Fell's cheeks, and she's like, "Yeah, sure, that's very smooth, very very smooth." Right.
Oh
let's,
yeah, Eli looks like when Gimli asked Galadriel for some of her a couple strands of hair.
Right. Let's make our incredibly graceful and smooth exit, and at least we should check on them just to make sure they're all right.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
And there's this moment of awkward trying to stop mid dance, and then kind of like looking around, like not really sure where they went or where we're supposed to go.
I imagine, knowing Strahd, that he probably has some servant or butler or some nightmarish creature that will escort us to where we need to go. And so she's going to kind of start walking towards the door leading out of the ballroom.
I imagine as you two begin to head out, you would meet up with Corla. At this point, you three kind of just meet together, and almost instantly, you see the butler is by your side, Corla, almost as if you would blink and he's there. I see that the three of you are hoping to retire. I can show you your rooms if you'd like.
Potentially. We would very much like to check in on Jean, though. Do you happen to know where she's gotten off to?
Jean has been showed her quarters and has retired for the evening.
Perfect. Would you mind showing us to her quarters?
Of course.
Great.
And he smiles this very tight grin as he looks to each of you. Follow me. And he leads you all up again, this winding staircase. And Corla, you would recognize a few of these passages, but then they just become lost to you, unless any of you would like to remember the way, and you can make a survival check.
Ooh,
I
I
will.
would like to try.
I
Would
like to roll
certainly
dice
like to try that.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
What's my survival? Oh heck yeah!
Man, I should have left the
Natural
dice cocked.
20. First
That's a
roll of the
5.
game on my @con die, so that's an @20. That's a
Hey.
25 survival.
Jam.
Jeez. Eli knows the layout of Castle Ravenloft.
I mean, I guess this makes sense because it is a place of stone. So
Why? Because he's a dwarf.
I'll take
Yeah.
that kind of generalization and assumption. Like, I mean, seriously though, I think in that case, I would probably recognize the shifting patterns of stone, different types of stone, maybe different types of workmanship on the stone, and am able to sort of piece together this sort of mental map of where the different stoneworks shift, kind of like noticing, you know, maybe there's a checkerboard floor pattern in this hallway and a parquet floor and this, etc.
mm-hmm.
And I'm closer to the floor than anybody else, so
Yeah, definitely. You know exactly where to go, where to turn. Even I would say with a roll that good, you would even see where Rahadan has stepped to avoid maybe some of the creakier places on the floorboards, just in case. And he leads you to a room, and he opens the door and he says, your rooms, the three of you, if you would like, are down this hall. And he points down and you see that there are indeed like another 3 doors kind of in a line on the corridor down. Those are your rooms. Think of them as you wish. Like I had told Mistress Duvalet, there are If you need anything or in want of anything, there is a bell pull that you may request any assistance. Otherwise, have a good evening. Someone will be here to fetch you in the morning. And with a smile and a slight bow, he leaves.
Imagine as soon as he turns his back, Phil just sticks her tongue out at him and then looks to the others and says, right, let's make sure Jean is doing all right, I guess. And then she'll look to you, Corla. I think it doesn't really make any sense for us to all stay in separate rooms, honestly. I think, if you're comfortable with it, which I imagine you are, you could stay with Jean. Maybe the two of you could trade off watches. I mean, you trance, I know, as a wood elf, but just be careful. I'm sure there's all sorts of awful things in this castle besides Strahd.
Oh, yes, I have met one of those.
What did you find?
Well, let's go inside and...
Fair. After you.
Knock.
Jean, you hear a knock at your door. That has been
Jean
opened slightly.
Corla's
Jean
very
is
polite.
confused. It's not morning time, is it? She thinks to herself. She'll kind of just go from wherever she was seated to open up the door, seeing the familiar faces. What is it?
Can we come in for a moment, please?
Of course.
We do that.
Yes. So later, after dinner, I was wandering and I come across a room. And it's nothing too fancy, like all the places here. Some, stinky, stale air, but I saw painting. And this is what caught my eye. It was a painting of Irina.
Oh.
Standing with young Sergei.
You sure it's Irina?
Well, as sure as anything in this world, is someone who looks like Irina could be
A reincarnation, potentially, since apparently that's the thing here.
Yes. And I mean, it was old painting and it was old, very young Sergei. So either Irina is like hundreds years old or, not Irina. But here and there, picture in room. And there was someone in room with wanting to eat me. So I left. But besides that point, I just thought I might mention it because maybe this is why Irina is also being hunted by Strahd.
Well, we know that Strahd has visited her in the past, so he wants her for something. You're right. Maybe it could have something to do with maybe who she is a reincarnation of, like who her original personality was, persona was. I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about reincarnation, to be honest.
Eli, did Sword... I can't believe I'm asking this. Did Sword say anything about Irina?
I don't remember.
I'm going to interrupt, sorry, for 1 second. I have to leave. I have something that I have to take care of very, very quickly.
Another spider.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I am so sorry. I will be right back. Talk about it for yourself.
Well, this sword here, I don't know. It's got a mind of its own. It's hard to... Didn't she leave last time we were talking to the sword? Or asking about the sword?
It's a curse.
It's the curse of sword.
She is the sword.
She is the sword.
Hey, can you show me the handle of that sword? It says right here it's inscribed +4 on it. What does that mean?
We all go up 4
I read that as... Well, look, if you scratch it across the top here, it says +9.
Oh.
It's what I like to call a Pathfinder sword.
Nice.
Now this, the sword is not, I mean, only really talked to it the one time, and it was kind of focused on the fact that it was Sergei and Strahd's brother, so maybe it
Can
could only drop so many bombshells at once.
can you talk to Sword at any time, or do you have to be like sleeping after drinking lots?
I guess I could probably try. I don't know how it works, to be honest with you.
I mean, earlier today, I think you were just sort of, it sounded like you were talking to yourself, but you were obviously talking to the sword. So that seems to work, maybe.
Hey, sword. Sergei. It's not responding, so I don't know,
Maybe the sword is tired. Maybe it drains him to talk.
maybe I do need to drink.
It's not a bad idea. And she'd hand over, I'm sure I have a wineskin or something.
I think you guys have all been going through your Vistani wine, and I think I gotta check. I think I have. What were they in? Was it a bottle or a cask or?
Yeah,
I had a cask.
pony keg.
I have a full cask of Vistani wine that I haven't even tapped into
Nice.
yet.
Nice.
I was kind of holding it back for a special occasion when Fel and Eli were alone, since Fel seems to really like the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Although Fel seems to like anything.
She likes wine, basically. Drink and forget. Well, Jean, we were thinking while Eli consults with his magical talking sword. We were thinking about pairing off as far as rooming situations go, just so that we could potentially take watches, alternating watches, since I imagine if we are isolated and alone in the middle of the night, it kind of gives Strahd free reign to have his little spies do whatever they're going to do. So he already has quite a bit of a hold over us, so to speak. So it might be a good idea to be a little careful since we're going to be staying the night here.
My chambers only have one bed.
Well, right, but look at how big it is. I'm sure Corla could share the bed. Jean, don't be a jerk.
And what, you will share your bed with Eli?
I mean, if he wants, sure.
I raise my voice a little bit louder as I pull the sword blade out.
Stargate!
I'm Corla wanted to know if the sword had said anything about what's her name?
Yes, Irina.
And I couldn't remember, and then we were asking if how it worked to talk to the sword. So I've got the sword out now, and I'm like, hey, do something.
Do you unsheath the sword?
After a moment, because initially I'm just trying to like reach out with my mind, and then finally I pull the sword out of the scabbard as Sean says, and what, are you going to share your bed with Eli? That's when I just kind of go, hey, Sergei, and I pull the sword out and hold it out. Hey, you in there?
Yeah, you hear kind of this voice that seems a little distant at first, but as you see, hello, Eli. What can I do?
What, Corla, what did you want to know?
Well, I'm wanting to know if Sergei talked about a love of his life, or any names, if in fact he knows Irina.
You said you saw a painting of them?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're just
Well, I'm assuming it was Sergei because it looked like Strahd, but not really like Strahd. So, Sergei Strahd's brother. I'm thinking same, family resemblance.
so I imagine I keep trying to talk to the sword, and Corla keeps saying more, and I'm just like, should I? Okay, so we we saw a I didn't. My friend Corla here saw a portrait painting of what we can only assume to be you. Well, before you became this, and you were with a woman in this painting.
A woman. I don't remember any woman. There were quite a few paintings with my mother, father, and I, but nothing. I'm sure there wasn't anyone else in it.
I just pictured putting my hand over the sword, kind of like you do with the phone. You're like, are you sure it wasn't his mom? Was it somebody like around his age, like not his mother?
Yeah, Carla, you would remember that they were very close in age, it seemed like.
It is same age.
Yeah, it
Is
definitely
it
was
working?
not your mother. Yeah, I'm talking to the sword now. What did you say your name was?
Corla.
No, not your name, her name.
Irina. We've talked to Irina before, Eli. We spent a lot of time with Irina, actually.
Sorry, I'm a bit flustered,
Apparently.
being inside Strahd's castle
Fair enough.
with his brother the sword. Irina, does that name mean anything to you?
You're a pause, and then, no, I've never heard that name before. I'm sorry.
No, it's a dead end. I mean, no.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No offense intended.
You just hear this clearing of the throat from Sergei. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Did we ever hear the name Tatiana before? Was that mentioned at all? Or because I'm trying to remember, because it's probably been earlier on in the campaign.
No, I don't think
cool.
that you have.
I didn't think so, but I wasn't 100% sure. Cool. Thank you.
No, I didn't think we had heard that.
No. I will say, Sergei begins, I really don't remember very much. I don't remember my death. I don't remember very much until the last thing I remember is I came and visited my brother on my mother's behest. She was worried about him. He had stayed in one spot for way too long and had told me to go and check up on him before I begin my priesthood. But
When was that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure when we are. Or we're in the castle. Maybe it hasn't been that long. But I don't remember.
And I'm sort of, as he's talking to me, I'm just sort of relaying to the others what he's saying.
So actually, out of character. So that's
yeah.
a really good point, Karen. So we found one of those boxes with names on them. One had Irina and Tatiana on the same box. So we know the name, and we know it's somehow connected to Irina. So I guess, if you want, we could make like some kind of intelligence check to see if we could conflate the two. If you think we would need to, or
no, I don't think a check is necessary. I think that you would remember a very scary box with both names.
Yeah. So I guess Fel would kind of look to you, Corla, and just kind of say, is there anything else, maybe something that we found or heard in the village of Barovia when we first met Irina that might link her to Sergei that you can think of?
I am not knowing if it's Sergei, but right before Irina was bitten, we heard Tatiana, we will be together soon, or she heard it.
Huh.
What was that? You said Tatiana?
Right.
Yes.
Maybe ask Sergei if he remembers Tatiana?
Tatiana. Does that name mean anything to you, Sergei?
Tatiana. You know, it sounds familiar, but I can't quite put my finger, well, my lack of finger on it. It's right there. Let me think more. Every time, slowly my memory is coming back. I might be able to think of something.
Well, did he know name?
He says he can't put his he can't remember. He seems to be struggling to recognize the passage of time, and he's going to think on it. So I'm just going to leave him be, and maybe we can ask him later. And I will resheath the sword.
Wait. You see, as you're closing it, you hear. Wait. If you can speak with Strahd, can you ask about her mother? Ask how she is doing. Please.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sure she'd be worried sick. She must want to know what's going on. You know, Strahd named this castle after her. Ravenovia was her name.
What was that? Sorry, I talked over you.
Ravenovia was her name.
Ravenovia. And I say that out loud. All right. Well, I'll see if I can have an opportunity to ask Strahd how his mother's doing.
If it's not too much trouble, I would.
It seems a simple enough question.
Thank you.
All right.
And yeah, you can.
And then I will sort of slowly sheath the sword.
So, we're supposed to be going riding with him tomorrow morning. I guess that hopefully will be an opportunity to, after we do whatever we're supposed to do on that ride, for us to leave, potentially. He's going to have to let us loose at some point to go after Van Richten, and then we can figure out what we're doing from there, I suppose. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that at that, between the sword and mentioning Van Richten, that just makes me sort of start to stare off out the window, or where the window is. Well, I guess there's a window there, it just wouldn't open.
Right. Well, I guess we're going to go to bed. Have a good night. You two. We'll see you in the morning. And Fel will kind of like look at Eli for a moment and just kind of start walking towards the door.
Well,
Yeah. Good night. And I will follow Phil.
Rest well, you two.
Corla's not looking at the two as they disappear. She's trying very hard to keep her face away because she's looking at Jean, trying hard not to laugh at the things that are being said.
And after Eli and Fel leave the room, Jean will kind of turn to you, Carla. So you want to stay in here the night as well?
It is not necessary, I don't think, unless
I think they're just trying to make excuses.
yes, make themselves feel better. I'm thinking. I will just be next door, unless that's the one they took. That will be awkward.
Well, have a good rest then.
You too. I'll see you in morning. If you need something, I will be there.
Likewise.
So as you all hunker in for the night at Strahd's castle, it doesn't take long before the howling winds and the creaking of floorboards to set in. You hear the constant sounds of whispering, of maybe nothing too explicit, no talking, no voices that you can hear, but there is this just sense of death and dread, which I'm sure makes it quite difficult to fall asleep. And I need Jean, roll me a d20, please. Oh,
10. Right in the middle.
so you managed to sleep through the night. You are able to finally get to sleep, I'm sure, with many of the pillows covering your ears to drown out the sounds of the night. You hear bats, you hear the howling of wolves, but slowly that is all drowned out as sleep overcomes you. And you might expect dreams, nightmares, visions to come to you in the night, perhaps even Strahd himself, but it is appearing though he has kept true to his word, has left you alone, and you will have a dreamless sleep. Corla, roll me a d20, please.
For a second, I thought it was a 1, but it's actually a 7.
Corla, you toss and you turn, you try to get to sleep, but you just can't. So many thoughts and memories are just flowing through and around you, and you feel a presence in the room with you. You hear the creaking of footsteps. Do you turn to look?
Oh, yes.
You see somebody from your past. Who is it? And are they alive or dead?
It's Roderick.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's dead.
He is. Roderick was the one who was like telling them to put you on the altar, correct?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the one who made the decision and forced the others to follow suit. Yeah, as he did with everything.
Imagine as you look, you hear the clinking of armor that Roderick always insisted on wearing and shining, and you see him standing tall, proudly, arrogantly at your bedside as he kind of looks down upon you.
My hand quickly darts underneath the pillow that I was lying on, where I keep my, in this case now, a silvered dagger, and I lunge for him, trying to drive it into the chinks in his armor. There's no hesitation.
I need you to roll me initiative, please.
Oh no. 17.
Okay, you can go first, so make an attack against Roderick.
Oh, that'll be a 14, I believe.
1 second.
So I don't think I've got anything else.
A 14 does not hit. You hear the clink of the armor as you pierce. You just miss the seam in between. And maybe to your horror, you realize that this isn't an apparition, or it appears not to be an apparition, but something corporeal as you hear the sound of you hitting his armor. He just smiles. He doesn't say anything to you. His eyes, though their pride radiates through them as they always did, there's a certain amount of just deadness behind them. You know that he isn't there as he unsheaths his sword, lunges at you, and he gets a 20 to hit you.
A 20 will hit, and I'm going to use my reaction to do an uncanny dodge to have this damage.
That is going to be 5 points of slashing damage, and then he comes back again for the second swipe. He comes back. He comes back over, and that is going to be a 21 to hit. And that is going to be 12 points, unless you're uncanny dodging again. That one.
I can it's only a reaction, so
Okay, yeah. So
is the 5
points.
already halved?
Yes, the 5 is already halved.
Okay, so I take 5 and 12.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
13. Okay. Ow.
The rest of you, please make me perception checks at disadvantage.
Ten.
8.
6.
Thanks, guys.
This is why you
got
don't
also-
sleep alone.
Got a total of 24. Does that count for anything?
No. So, Corla, he is there, sword drawn in hand. You are right now, I believe you're probably laying prone as you are laying down and you just went to lunge. So, what would you like to do?
I would first like to take a bonus action to, I guess, watch him and how he's moving. I'm doing insightful fighting. So he needs to make a deception roll, and I make an insight roll. It's versus his deception. So my insight, that's a 19 versus whatever he got on deception.
18.
Okay, so because I succeed, I can use my sneak attack against him for the next minute,
Nice.
as long as I'm not incapacitated. So I'm at that point going to then, I guess like he kind of moved. I'm on the bed. I'm going to use my movement to get up from like that, I guess like that sitting / prone into more of a fighting stance on the bed. And then I'm going to try to attack him.
Perfect.
Oh, that's a 1. I think my foot gets caught in the cover of the duvet or whatever thing is on this bed, and
Absolutely. And I will say you kind of, with the 1, you would fall prone again. Like you get kind of tangled up, you go to stand, and you just kind of can't get your footing. All right. Roderick is going to come down again and again. The first one is going to be an 11 to hit.
Yes.
And the second one is a 20.
That's a hit. And I will do my reaction to uncanny dodge this one as well. I'll roll away.
So that is going to be 4 points of slashing damage. And the rest of you, please make me a perception check at disadvantage.
8.
4.
9.
One of my dice is rolling really high. The other one is not.
That's only a total of 23. Damn it. 21, excuse me.
So, Orla.
You tried to kill me one time. You failed. You will not succeed again. And I'm going to try to, I guess, untangle myself and then attack him again. So use my movement to untangle and.
Okay. Yep.
Stupid bed. Ugh, that's a 15.
Does not hit.
Yeah, I can't get purchase on, but I am now standing at least. As a bonus action, I'd like to disengage if I could and get off the bed towards the door.
Great. So you will have, so yeah, disengage, you're trying to pass through the door. Roderick is going to attempt to like hold you from behind, like kind of like a grapple. So you have to make an opposed strength.
Could I use my wily acrobatics and contortion ability to try to not have that happen?
Yeah, I would say. If you would like, yeah.
That's still not going to be very good. I'm tired. That's a 13.
Roderick got a 19 as you hear, as you feel him grab you and begin to crush you. He's strong. You know that he's strong, and he hasn't lost any of his strength after death. And I imagine that he begins to speak to you, like right by your ear. And it's something that Roderick would have said to you right before he left you at the altar. And what was that? What did he say to Corla?
Oh, I think, he said, finally, I get to leave you, treat you the way you should be treated. And Jean, now with you no longer able to protect her, she'll be mine.
And he says that over and over and over again as he's holding you and just crushing you. You can feel your lungs try to find purchase. It is your turn. Oh, sorry. The rest of you make perception checks at disadvantage, please.
Guys, I rolled a 12.
I got an 11. Oh, it's such a big number. It's 2 digits. Oh.
7. Wait. 6.
Corla.
So Corla is going to scream, blood-curdling scream, as I can't attack while he's grabbing me, can I?
You can try and get out of it.
Yeah,
But
I will
that's it.
try to like slide out of his embrace and weasel my way out if I possibly can. We'll try.
Yep. Go for it.
Oh, that's a 21.
You put in all of your might, your weight, your strength. You go and you try. I imagine Corla would drop, like just suddenly put all her weight down and try and drop to break the grasp. And you do so. But it is so easy to do as you look around and Roderick is gone.
I think that's kind of the reaction she has too. She's down on the ground. She's just kind of laughing insanely to herself at this moment, looking at her dagger that couldn't land. Yeah, that's what she's doing.
The only thing to suggest that this fight was real was the blood that is now seeping from some of your wounds from the purchases that Roderick got with his broadsword. Eli and Fel, I need you both to roll me a d20, please.
16.
13.
Corla, where do you go after you are...
Once I recover my wits?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Immediately we'll go back to Jean's room because I remember what he's saying over and over and over to me, and I'm afraid for her.
Jean, you hear this, I imagine. Do you just walk in or do you knock?
I burst in. I don't knock this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Jean, you are woken up from a dreamless sleep. I'm sure it's a sleep that you have not had a dreamless sleep in a very long time. And you are woken up by Corla bursting into your room.
Jean!
I'd like to be offered the Nobel Prize, please.
Oscar-worthy, Connor.
Thank you.
Are
so
you
good.
okay? Was he here?
Who?
Did he hurt
What?
you?
You're not making sense, Corla. Just go back to bed.
Back to bed? I didn't have to be there in the first place.
And lights a little match and lights a candle or whatever and just sees you covered in blood or something. What happened?
You know, it's crazy, but Roderick, he attacked me.
Who? Eli attacked you?
Roderick!
Kind of just like rubs her eyes, tries to like get out of the bed. Is he still there?
No, I don't think so. But he's going to come after you. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm very confused. I'm also just waking up. Are you hurt? Are you hurt?
And Corla looks down at her and her blood-soaked clothing. Yes, I'm hurt. I'm bleeding all over the place.
Come here then. Come here then. And then John would like get some bandages and stuff to bandage your wounds. I didn't know if it was your blood or his.
I could not hit him. It was like
Was he a
something
ghost?
kept turning my blades. He was real. Look at me. He tried to crush my ribs.
Was he a vampire too?
And at that, I think Corla just kind of doesn't like, she's kind of taken aback because that didn't even cross her mind at this point. I don't know. But you are safe.
I'm completely fine. Slept like a log so far.
Do you mind if I stay here rest of night?
Of course. Go ahead.
I think she would, after you've done bandaging her up, she would be looking around for, I don't know, probably one of those really old, like poofy armchair kind of things, and she would go and curl up on that.
Yeah, you definitely find one, like probably even like one of those like big armchairs too. Yeah, you can find that. And when sleep finds you, all of you then have a dark, dreamless sleep. You wake up in the morning. You're not sure why, but for the two of you in the rooms, you find that you both wake up at the same time, as if something had awakened you, but you can't discern what it is. The sun, or what is the light, I should say, because it's not exactly the sun, filters through the dark curtains. And if none of you want to meet or something before going down, we will jump to there, unless anyone wants to do anything first.
When Jean wakes up, and Corla's still there. Was last night real? And then we'll look at the bandages and your wounds. And
My clothing, is it still bloodstained?
No, it is not.
But I still have my dagger curled around, like I'm curled around my dagger, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No blood stains. Are there like cuts in the clothing?
Nothing. No.
I peel away one of the bandages. Well, I guess I don't. No move. Oh.
No, you find nothing. When you open up the bandages, you find nothing.
what a strange dream.
How can be dream?
Well, whatever happened, certainly not real. It's best to get your clothes and armor and gear on. Likewise, I will too.
All right. Corlo actually would walk out of the room a little confused, going back to get her stuff from the other room. She's just very confused at this point.
You do so. Corla, when you walk into your own room, you see that your bed has been neatly made. You do not see the tangle of sheets by your bed. You do not see the scuffle of the carpet. You look, you walk in, and it is pristine, as if you had never slept in it at all.
I shudder. I grab my stuff as quick as possible. I don't get dressed here. I grab everything and head back to Jean's room.
So I assume you all ready yourselves, and you can begin to smell the scents of cooking bacon and eggs, and the warmth from the kitchen begin to permeate through the wood and the stone. And you make your way down, I assume.
Fel would, if possible, like to talk to everybody before we go downstairs. Like, briefly.
Yeah, sure. You can all meet together if you'd like. Absolutely.
Yeah. So imagine as we're all sort of emerging, getting ready, she would just say, "Hey, how did everyone sleep?"
Corla got attacked by a phantom of the night.
Were you there to help her out, or
I only saw the aftermath of it, and even then,
were you
the
guys not
aftermath of it was
staying
not
in
there
the
in the
same
morning.
room? Were you not staying in the same room?
Of course not.
Why not?
Why would we?
To keep stuff like that from happening? Are you all right, Corla? And Fel will look over to you, Corla.
Am I all right? Are all my wounds like...
Am I okay, DM?
Physically.
I don't feel okay, DM.
All signs point to
Physically.
no.
Physically, yes. You are completely fine.
And in fact, that would be exactly the words that she would say. Physically, yes.
I imagine Fel just glares at Jean for a moment and then shakes her head and looks back to you, Corla, and says, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm glad that physically you are all right. Are you up for a little brief planning conversation before we go downstairs, or do you need a minute?
Go ahead. I just want out of this place.
Fair enough. And hopefully this will help. So I had a thought about the situation with Strahd and Von Richten and all of this nonsense. So I think it was you, actually, Corla, you mentioned maybe he is asking us potentially to kill a man. Not saying we're actually going to do it, but potentially that is what this is leading up to. Maybe we should get him to give us this cure, to even if it's just either to Jean or to Eli first, and then I imagine he's not going to cure them both before we even do the job, but it is something we might suggest to him while we are out on this morning ride, because again, we are talking about potentially killing a man. Not saying we're going to actually do it, but it is something to think about. I don't think it's a terrible idea, Corla.
Corla's uncharacteristically quiet this morning when you're talking, and she just nods to your suggestion.
All right. Anybody else? Eli? Anyone?
I don't find it very often that somebody wants you to do a job and they're going to pay you up front. and take away your motivation for the job, I don't see Strahd doing much in the way of helping myself or Sean in the way you're hoping.
Well, there's no reason we can't ask.
Well, if you want to, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to ask him about his mother.
Well, maybe on this... I don't know what's going on with my microphone. I'm going to fix that right quick. Excuse me.
You hear the sound of a ringing bell.
Test.
I think that sounds better.
Yep.
Okay, cool. We might be good then. Sorry, continue.
And you hear the sound of a ringing bell to indicate that a meal is ready.
I think at the sound, involuntarily, Corla would jump. She's a little bit skittish today, so.
Let's get this over with, shall we? And Fel will start to walk down. Every now and again, she kind of glances at you, Corla, very unsubtly trying to make sure that you're doing all right. But then she would head downstairs towards the smells where they're coming from.
Yeah, as soon as Fel, you open the door, you see Rahadan there at the door, smiling his very white, toothy grin. Good morning, Lady Daggerford.
Fel is fine. What was your name again?
I am Rahadan.
Gotcha. Thank you, Rahadan. Are we dining with Strahd this morning, or what?
Strahd has already had, Master Strahd has already had his breakfast this morning. You will be eating alone and meeting him in the stable.
Very well. Do you know how long he plans to have us riding with him?
I'm afraid I do not know the Lord's schedule.
Little strange for a butler, but sure. And she'll walk into I assume, the dining hall.
Yeah, he would like lead you down and around all of you to the dining hall, and where you would eat, for those who would eat some. It is amazing that they would have fruit in this place. That you were surprised that anything can grow here. But there is fruit and ham and meats and cheeses and breads and eggs. And for those who would like to partake, do so, and it is delicious. He then, once you are all ready, he would lead you outside around the courtyard and the corner towards the stables. And you see before you four horses standing with their handlers holding their reins. And as you get closer, you find something quite odd about these horses, something sinister and eerie. It makes the hairs on your neck stand up on end. Eli, you would immediately recognize what is wrong with these horses as you see them move and become unsettled. These horses are dead. And that is where we are going to take our break.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will be back with the great riding tour. See you in a bit. And we're back. So, you 4 undead horses stand before you. They're handlers of a similar pallor and paleness to the horses stand motionless, vacant eyes looking at you. Surprisingly, the horses don't smell yet. You can still see what looks to be fresh blood in some places. You see a black stallion riding across the courtyard. Strahd sitting atop of it with some very fine riding leathers, and he looks down at the 4 of you. I trust you found my home restful? Hopefully everything was to your liking.
It was, very nice. Quaint.
That is the first time I've ever heard my castle described as quaint, but nonetheless, I have procured for you the finest horses for our ride today. And I'm eager to show you the landscape of this beautiful countryside. So, saddle up. Let's get going. And he turns and begins to ride away.
Corla turns to Jean. These are his finest horses.
I see they've aged spectacularly.
Understatement. Do we have to?
I think we do.
Sooner we do this, the sooner it'll be over with. And Fel will very uncomfortably and awkwardly get onto this undead steed, start to try to guide it after Strahd, trying to avoid any of the blood spots, because nasty.
Yeah, once you're all on the horses and begin to ride out, Strahd does slow his pace a little bit so that you can catch up with him as you ride out of the courtyard, out the front gates, and he leads you down away from the main path and onto some trails. You see that the sky is particularly sunless today. Bright though it may be, but the fog is extremely thick. He leads you through brambles, a few more heavily forested areas, until he leads you out to this cliff, almost this hill leading to this cliffside that plunges down to this babbling river below. Beyond it, you see rolling hills and grasslands, and beyond that, you see the speck of you see a very small village, the village of Barovia, and you see that you are overlooking this village. You see a bit of smoke rising from the chimneys of some of the houses that are still there. This is one of my favorite spots. I figured I'd show you it first. This you can see almost the entire countryside. All of my land.
To be honest, all I can see is a lot of fog.
Comes with the charm, I think.
Debatable.
he looks on quietly. And without looking at any of you, have you put any thought into my proposal? Our deal?
We have. If we are going to potentially be claiming the soul of another person for you, we would like you to cure one of our companions first. And you can cure the other one when we have done this job for you.
Oh, just one. How very noble of you. How very diplomatic, I should say. And tell me, have you decided which one? And he points back and forth between Jean and Eli. Would you save?
I think we should let them choose. And Fel looks back to Eli and John. You two choose.
Well, clearly it's
Clearly, it's him.
well, it should be Sean.
Maybe you didn't think about it so much as you thought you did.
I've given it plenty of thought. Perhaps he hasn't. Or perhaps he has.
Or maybe you could pick one if they won't choose.
Oh no, that's no fun at all.
Well, it would be nice to see some kind of demonstration you can actually do what you're claiming to do. Since, again, we are talking about killing a man.
Well, I am also talking about saving two of your friends' life in exchange for killing a stranger. I don't see how that compares at all.
We've actually met him before, as you yourself noted, so he's not a stranger. He's actually been surprisingly helpful in a background sort of way. You're asking us to kill an ally. An ally. One of the very few we've made here in your wonderful country.
Such a big word for someone you hardly know.
Not really.
If you knew,
ally's
perhaps,
a four-letter word.
If you knew perhaps some of Van Richten's other proclivities, his thoughts, the actions, his goals, maybe you wouldn't be so quick to call him an ally.
I mean, he's helped us. There weren't any strings attached. He doesn't play games, at least not with us. It's more than I can say for you.
It's interesting. It is interesting that you see him with no strings, but you see me holding and wielding all of them.
Well,
a bit
yes.
Assumptive.
I mean, not really. You've told us that you are effectively in control of most everything here, apart from the mysterious darkness that you made a pact with that bound you here. So I don't think that's presumptive at all.
Well, if I am to save one of you, you will have to be unanimous on the decision.
She'll look to the other three. Can we reach some kind of agreement? Lord Strahd, your hills are screaming.
Sorry, Mario Kart can get really intense.
It really can. As soon as you get that blue shell, it's over. Anyway, can we reach some kind of accord between the four of us?
Look, we could sit here debating this all day, trying to come to a conclusion, and we're just not going to agree unless if you're going to be insistent, Sean, then the purposes of moving forward, I will agree.
Corla.
He has not even changed yet. We don't even know he is actually sick.
we do. I imagine that, and she looks over to Strahd. I imagine the honorable Lord Strahd would not have dangled that in front of our faces as he did at dinner last night if he didn't have a reason to. Seems like a waste of his time and our time if it was just a bunch of lies.
Strahd just kind of smirks. Make your decision. I bore of this. Let us keep going. And he would begin to ride away.
If Jean is amenable, I am amenable. She looks at you, Corla. We can cure Eli. Has Strahd moved a little bit away at this point? And she'll kind of lower her voice. And depending on what happens, Eli's original plan of curing someone through prayer and holy water and other methods could work as well. We could also ask Van Richten if he knows a way to cure this vampiric curse as well, since he is a vampire hunter. But this way, we get at least one person to safety.
Corla would look to Jean. You have been this way longer. Can you hold on?
I've hung on this long. It's another day.
It could be months.
Could be years.
Can you do it?
I'll have to. If I have no other choice, then there is no other choice.
At least not until we find Van Richten.
Corla doesn't look at either Eli or Fel. Her eyes stay on Jean. I will agree with what everyone wants. I will not stop. I will not stand in the way, as long as you are sure. And she's staring straight at you, Jean.
And John will nod.
All right. Fine. Let's see if he can actually do this. And she will, I imagine she kind of like goes to spur her mount, but she doesn't want to touch its like goopy undead sides. So she just kind of is like, go, just go. She kind of has it right after Strahd to catch up with him.
And just urge it forward.
Basically just like, go, move. Stinky ass horse.
Yeah.
But yeah, once she was close enough to him, she would try to address him. I guess maybe the next time we stop.
Yeah, he continues to ride. And he will stop at... He will stop... You keep traveling through these meadows, through these grasses, along these deer trails that he seems to have found. You can tell that he's done this trek many, many times, as he's not really even looking or steering his horse. His horse knows where to go. His horse almost leads the way itself, as he seems to, he kind of tilts his head to the side in this silence, and once you're down from this hilly area, you see before you a swath of flat grassy land before you see what looks to be the entrance to a forested area. You see trees, you see they almost spring up immediately. It just goes from this grassland to these extensive large trees, and he stops halfway through this meadow, and he looks back, and he I assume you've made your decision.
We have. Cure Eli, please. And we will accept this quest.
Jean, always the selfless one, aren't you? The selfless commander who would sacrifice herself for the troops. It's too bad. If you had chosen to be healed, I may have shown you who your killer was. But that can't be fixed. Very well. When we return, I shall heal Eli.
No strings attached to this healing, by the way. It is done, and we will embark upon this job for you.
Are you telling me that? Is that a statement of
I
my
believe
magic?
it is.
Interesting. Interesting. Yes. All right. I'll play your game. Very well. No strings attached other than, I suppose, the string to kill Van Richten, right?
To accept this job, yes.
And then the string after that for once you kill Rictavio to come back so that I can kill Jean. And then also the string of you finding your last item.
Oh, I didn't realize that was also part of this. I was under the assumption that we were only discussing this Van Richten situation. That seemed to be the quest at hand.
It is, of course, but you want to get out, don't you? That's just an extension of what you will do after. It's all related. You see.
True, but right now the matter being discussed is Van Richten. Yes.
Of course.
So maybe deal with that first and then get on to the next quest. Clearly, this adventuring thing is pretty new to you. I don't blame you. It's pretty new to me as well. One quest at a time, as they say.
Yes, it is quite apparent that it is new to you. As you can see here, there is this forest. This was the first place that I first saw the land of Barovia. And in here, and he stops and he pauses and he looks around. Well, we will see soon enough. And he begins walking into the forest. Come, we still have much to see.
Is he walking or riding?
Sorry, riding. Yeah.
Oh no, you're good.
Trotting.
I just wasn't sure if he dismounted or not.
The horse is walking. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I imagine Fel, as soon as he kind of moves away, kind of sags in her saddle, breathing a little heavily, and then she looks back to the others. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes, and she'll start to urge her horse after Strahd.
Eli, you must feel very relieved that you don't even have to suffer any of the minor symptoms that Jean already has before you're healed. It must be so comforting for you.
Well, of course, it's gonna be a good thing to not have to feel negative effects of this affliction. I'm not sure what you want me to say.
I'm sure Jean will be able to tell you all of the wonderful things that happens before you die.
Okay.
The vomiting of blood, the loss of muscle, loss of sight, the hallucinations. Those were my favorite, particularly.
Yeah, sounds like a real growth opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure Shantea would have saved you eventually.
Perhaps. If not Shantea, then perhaps Lathander.
Lythander, you have met the Lord of Light. Yes. He used to be quite the figure here. had quite the following. Oh, yes, I believe that you met some of the old priests, the monks of Lythander. Yes, Saint Andrels. Quite ironic, don't you think? I love a good irony. Seems as though so does this darkness. He continues on.
I just, as he continues on, I just look at Fel and I just mouth the words, I this guy.
Imagine Fel mouths back, I fucking know.
Corla, you're awfully quiet. Have trouble sleeping.
She just glares at him. Not even gonna respond.
Yes, I find that this castle can really bring up old wounds when you least expect it. But
The wailing of the children in the
The
background.
wailing of the damned.
speaking of old wounds, so he continues on. He seems very unbothered, and you can just feel like the self-entitlement streaming from him as he wanders.
I think at that, Corla is going to actually speak up. I thought they were not supposed to harm us. I thought you'd given them orders not to touch us.
Corla, my dear, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific than just they. I command many in my castle. Who is this they you speak of?
Well, the ones in your castle. Did you not tell them that we were not to be harmed? That we were not to be touched? That we were supposed to be safe?
I believe what I had said, that they weren't allowed to kill you, disembowel you, or decapitate you. And as far as I can see, none of that has happened yet.
So they're allowed to try, just not succeed.
Some of them have quite the sense of humor.
Ugh, it's not funny.
Humor is subjective.
Attempted disembowelings usually aren't, though.
As long as they're attempted, then both parties can laugh, right?
Not really. Well, that, and also I imagine it'd be rather difficult for Corla to assist us in completing this task you'd have us do if she was maimed and or disfigured in some way.
And tell me, Fel, did you see her maimed in some way?
I did not, but she said she was, and I believe her.
Right.
Maybe you need to do a better job of managing your staff.
Right. Staff.
Mm-hmm.
How quaint. Yes, well, I don't see anything wrong. You seem quite hale, Corla.
Mm.
Looks can be deceiving.
They can, can't they?
Yes. And she's like staring straight at him, trying to read him, as she is always doing.
Would you like to do an insight check?
Yeah, I'd actually like to do an insight check about that whole disemboweling and decapitating
Yeah.
statement.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be, I believe I have a thingy. Yeah, so that will be a 16.
So are you trying to figure out what, like if he actually said that, or like what are you,
Yeah,
or whether he has control over like the people in the castle, or
what I'm getting from him is that he likes to use words and kind of do double speak, so that where it sounds like one thing but it means another. And so she's using the knowledge that from that thing that was in the corner telling, how they weren't supposed to, eat us, that kind of thing. And then his specifying that it was just these three things. She wants to know if his intent was he actually doesn't care if we are hurt.
Okay. And what did you get? Sorry?
16.
You can't tell, unfortunately. You see his grin and his look, and you feel quite lost in it for a while. Almost to the point where you kind of blink and like just this moment. You don't forget what you were thinking and stuff, but there's just this moment of haziness that comes over you.
Yeah, it's a much tougher book to read. I don't think she'd say anything at that point, but just kind of fall silent, staring at him a little bit longer until, I don't know if he will break first, but I think she'll keep looking until...
This is going to be a game of chicken. He will not break. So we could actually do like a opposed roll to see who breaks first. What?
A will?
Corla versus Strahd. The stare down.
Right? What could we...
Oh, this will be great. I wonder what... It's like your willpower, right? Like your... I guess it would almost just be like a straight charisma roll, almost, I imagine.
God.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought was charisma.
What about persuasion? Yeah. Because you're kind of... I'm not very good at any charisma, but...
I don't think it's persuasion. Just because you're not trying to convince them of anything, I guess. Right. I think it would just be more of like your pure force of presence.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Roll good. No whammies. That's kind of a whammy. So 7.
He got a 15.
Yeah, so I think Corla starts to squirm, and her face starts to heat up, and she looks away. And you can see, Jean, you know it from her body language that she is pissed that he beat her on this, like, easily. Like, she was a little weakling. So you can tell she's really upset.
So yeah, you see everyone else who isn't Corla, who looks away, you see like this smirk come across Strahd's face as he turns back. So tell me, how are you planning to find Van Richten? Last you saw of him, he was in Vallaki, you know? Sure, he's cleared out of that place by now. Any smart man would.
Well, if he's become such a thorn in your side, then clearly he's not a smart man. So maybe we'll start there.
My dear Fell, you must think I think that if they are... You must... Sorry. Let me start over. Start over, not Strahd. Strahd is
unacceptable.
Way more charismatic than I am.
Play this 20 intelligence character, Megan.
Strahd looks at you, and I can appreciate the intelligence of my adversaries, Fel. I do not think it is very foolish of someone to underestimate people, don't you think?
It can be. You seem pretty apathetic, though, so I'm a little surprised, I guess.
Probably just a symptom of living for centuries tends to raise one's apathy a little bit. Now, all you would have to do is ask, a little hint of where his next move might be.
Ask you?
Why not?
Why would we do that? Make ourselves even more beholden to you than we already are? Doesn't really seem like it would make much sense to do that.
How I see it, Jean doesn't have very much longer, and I would think he would want to be quick about this. I thought that friendship was allyship was so important to you, Fel. Maybe a little bit more important than pride, but I guess not.
I imagine there's like this very faint sound of Fel's teeth grinding together. And she's like, it depends on the person, of course. I'm sure we'll figure it out. We appreciate the offer, though.
I am nothing if not the most giving host. As he keeps walking, sorry. So you I'm so sorry. So as you're walking, you find that it is getting foggier and foggier. You find that your visibility is becoming less and less. It's just becoming harder and harder to see until you can't even see the horse in front of you. Strahd has been quiet for a while. Who would be behind Strahd? The pathway is forcing you all to be in single file. So who would be behind Strahd?
I will.
Eli, you see the back of Strahd's horse and the silhouette of him. And he keeps walking. And all of you, I need to make a perception check for me, please.
12.
It's so foggy, I can't see my dice. 18.
18 as well.
John?
Natural 20 for a total 20.
Ooh, so, Jean, you see it first. The trees are moving in a windless day. The fog is thick. There is absolutely no breeze, but you unmistakably see the movement of a limb. And pretty soon, the two who got 18s, you see this as well. Just movement. As if there was a wind, but there is none. Do you say anything, or do you keep walking?
At this point, Corla is not saying anything because too much weird things have happened to her and she doesn't even know what's real anymore.
I will just say, I imagine you've been here long enough, you know these trails, whether or not you can see them, because it's getting pretty difficult to see going through here.
Yes, it can be quite difficult once the fog rolls in. I believe it's about that time of day.
A thick fog, and if I'm not mistaken, these trees seem to be moving of their own accord. Is that normal too?
Oh, probably. This land has a mind of its own sometimes. Even I am not safe in many of these parts. Fel, I need you please to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Well, crap. Let's see. Oh, actually, that's really, really good. That is a dirty 20.
All right. Uno momento.
Time to set the forest on fire. I'm just gonna continue.
You are able to dodge the first tree limb that comes crashing down ahead of you, but not the second. As it comes swiping, you are able to kind of dodge the tree limb that comes crashing down, but your horse is not. As the branch comes crashing down onto the horse lets out this strangled cry, and you are thrown off of it, Fel.
So I imagine just because she is being petty and just not really liking any of this nonsense, she is going to, let me just make sure I have my spell slots in order here. Yeah, so I imagine as she goes flying back for a moment, she kind of panics, but then her eyes flood with that familiar black coloring, and these two jets of teal-colored fire erupt from her hands. She kind of catches herself with a fly spell, and so she's just kind of hovering in midair, and she just calls out to Strahd. She says, maybe we should turn around. The trees are getting fidgety, apparently. They killed one of your finest horses. Clearly not that fine.
I need everyone to roll initiative for me, please.
No.
As Eli, as soon as this happens and you hear Fel call this out, you do not see the silhouette of Strahd anymore. What you do see in front of your path is a very large tree with a mouth agape, almost a maw opening up, and you see this green ichor inside begin to spill out, and these eyes begin to open as this tree begins to animate right in front of you. Just give me 1 second. Whoops. I'm try and use this initiative tracker from D&D Beyond. 10 and okay. Right. Eli, it's your turn.
Well, I think that as a we're on horseback. I will almost reactively at this giant tree in front. I will call out a prayer to Shantea with just a dash of Lathander in there as I raise my hand, and I'm going to fire a guiding bolt.
At the
this
tree,
yeah.
Right in front of you? Perfect. Yep.
So that's going to be, let's see, this seems like a good guiding bolt die. It's a 13 on the die for a 15 to hit.
Yep.
So that's going to be a 4d6. Ooh. That is 21 points of radiant damage into this tree. As there's just this sudden surge of brilliant light before it goes back to the dimness of this fog.
You see this flash, and you almost hear the creaking and groaning from this tree, is almost as if it was alive. It screams out in pain. Sorry, how much damage was that? 21, you said?
21.
Perfect. And is that your turn?
Let me just double check. I don't think I have. Oh. Okay. I remember I'm also a fighter. I actually. No, I can't do that because I already cast a spell, so I can't do that. I haven't taken any damage. Nope, that's going to be it for me for now.
All right. This tree is going to come down upon you, Eli.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh.
That might be my turn. Sorry, I'm confusing because I'm a multi-class, which I don't do very often.
Yeah.
So the
no
spell
worries.
is my action. So I don't get my 2 attacks. That would be if I took the attack action, I would get 2 attacks, correct? Okay. It's like I haven't played D&D in forever. Okay, I apologize. I'm done.
Okay. One second. All right. So you immediately see this tree begin to shake. It shakes violently, and from the corners of your eyes, Eli, you see that there's these long tendrils of roots coming alongside each of you, and they shoot up and they try and grab you. The first one is a 12 to hit.
Hit me?
Yeah.
No, that's gonna miss.
Second is a 21.
No, that's gonna hit.
And so you are grappled by this thing. These roots come up, and it just tightens these roots around yourself, and with you kind of tied together, you see 2 of its branches going to come and try and swipe you with a 25 and a 22 to hit, which deals it is going to deal 16 points of bludgeoning damage. And as it comes up, it comes racing up to you almost too fast for any kind of tree that is rooted. It comes up to Eli, and you see this maw just cracking open. It's going to come down and try and bite you. Try and just close its maw around you. And
All
that
of
is
the
going
attacks.
That is going to be an 18 to hit.
Yeah, that beats my 14 AC.
Excellent. Which is going to do. That is piercing damage, and it is going to.
How much piercing damage? Or did you not say a number?
Sorry. That is going to be 19 points piercing damage. As this tree just chomps down at you while you're held on by its roots.
As a free action, I would just like to say, ah!
That is the tree's turn. Corla.
Sorry, I just saw Kieran's message.
So Corla, seeing this tree attacking and eating poor Eli, I think I was towards the back of the line, I would have thought, having not won that staring contest with Strahd, she would have gone to the back. So at this point, she is going to, number one, use a bonus action to watch how this tree is acting.
Okay.
And use insight versus its deception. Hopefully it's a tree. It doesn't have too much of that. Oh, that's a bad roll. Sorry, that is a 12.
Almost guarantee that you're going to beat it because it got a -3.
Okay, oh, perfect, because I got a 13. So, yay! I have insightful fighting against this tree, and at that point, I am going to pull out my short bow, string it, and shoot an arrow at the tree that's about to chomp poor Eli. That'll be an 18 to hit.
Hits.
Perfect. So the bolt strikes true and will do 6 is 12 and 5 is 17 points of just piercing damage.
Perfect.
And I only get one shot. Yes, that's all I am doing at this point.
Okay, great. Jean.
Yeah, Jean sees this commotion of this walloping tree gnashing at her party members. And will begin her turn by casting Eldritch Blast upon it. To fire out 2 crimson bolts of energy at the tree. 21 to hit, and then a 11 to hit.
Those are hits.
Both of them?
Sorry, the 11 doesn't hit. Sorry, the 11 does not. One of them hits. Yep.
It's going to be 11 points of force damage.
Cool. Okay.
That's my turn.
Yeah, this tree reels back. You can see it's getting kind of, I imagine, singed by your blasts, and that will bring us to Fell.
Okie doke. So first off, she will, as her own horse has gone down, as she sees all of this happening and sees this weird wooden maw bearing down on Eli, she immediately, even though she's kind of flying, snaps out with her right hand, and she's going to aim a fireball in such a way that it does not clip Eli, but it clips the tree. It's got like a 20-foot wide radius sphere of influence, so I need it to make me a dexterity saving throw, please.
All right. Yeah, I imagine you can position it.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
I figured.
All right, that is an 8.
Cool. So that's a failure. Excuse me while D&D Beyond rolls 8d6. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I imagine it's this tiny little pea-sized ball of teal-colored flame. It kind of zips off into the tree line. For a moment, nothing happens, and then there is just this cacophonous detonation of teal-colored fire and this oily black smoke as it takes 40 points of fire damage.
Nice.
And she is going to, seeing that Eli just got absolutely walloped, she kind of calls out to him. She says, try and get free of the roots and back up, I guess. And then she's going to focus and burn 3 sorcery points? Let me just double check this. It's been a while. Yes, it is 3 sorcery points as her shadow starts to bulge and move, and it becomes this horse-sized shadowy hound with these flaming teeth and eyes. I will add it to the initiative order, which is actually better than Fell's initiative, which is, that is a 17 initiative for the Hound of Ill Omen, which she will summon right next to the tree.
All right, awesome. 17.
For the Hound of Ill Omen, yes.
Great, okay.
Yeah, say it.
So as soon as you do so, you see the tree still grappling Eli, still having him in its grasp. It all of a sudden unclamps its maw from Eli and just lets out the most blood-curdling shriek that and it's also kind of on fire. So it just lets out this shriek that rattles and scares the horses. They all rear up, but they you can hold on to them, but you see on either side of you there are two others, smaller trees that begin to move and to shake and begin to move and become more animated and more alive, essentially. Right. That will bring us to Eli.
So the one horse, or not horse, the one tree, it stopped biting me, but I'm still grappled in its tendrils, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So I'm going to attempt to make a melee spell attack against it.
Can you do that if you're grappled? I believe so. You can do that if you're.
Yeah, if you're grappled, your speed
No,
becomes 0.
Okay. All right. Yep.
So that's a 16 on the die, which makes it a 21 to hit.
That hits.
And I'm casting, this time the words that come out of my mouth are not the flowery prayers to Lathander or Shantea, but they are sharp-edged words that summon the deity Leviator, the god of pain, as I summon necrotic energy into this tree. And it is going to take 3d10 of necrotic energy. 16 points of necrotic damage.
Right.
I'm also going to, let's see, I cast that. I am also going to bonus action, second wind, to get World of 1. Get 6 HP back.
Nice.
And that will be my turn.
All right. So this tree, it still has you grappled, Eli. And so it's going to, bite down again upon you. Sorry, what did you say your AC was? 15?
14.
14. Okay. So it comes down and it just bites you. And it is going to do is going to do 18 points of piercing damage to you. And then, yeah. All right, sorry. It's going to do that to you. And then it is, how close is everyone to this tree? I think it's just Eli that is.
I was at the
close.
front of the line and I got ripped off my horse. And Fell was flying.
Yeah, the
attacking
hound is
from
up
a
there
distance. So I don't know where Corla and Sean were.
Corla was probably the very back. She would have had Jean in front of her.
And Jean, where are you in relation to the tree?
Probably still away from the tree because I cast Eldritch Blast. I probably use my movement to get closer to Eli, I think, but not too much, I guess. Just one movement.
Okay. Are you in? Would you be in like melee range of the tree? Because that's Eli's like right up against the tree.
I don't think that Jean would have gotten up there yet.
Okay. All right. All right. So it's going to also pick on the hound and try and hit the hound for a just this branch comes sliding off almost like behind it, I would imagine. It doesn't even seem like it's looking in that direction. And that is going to be a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
For that is going to be 15 points of
Okey-doke. Got it. Imagine the branch kind of like hits this shadowy form and it like wavers for a moment, but then it kind of coalesces back together. This just a dog of shadow and fire. It actually looks relatively fine.
Eli, you get one branch swiping across you. You manage to almost like duck under or move your head, but it leads you to be open for the other branch to come across, and you are going to take 18 points of bludgeoning damage.
So this, I can't help but picture this scene a lot like in the Harry Potter movie where the Whomping Willow's just flinging Hermione around. Eli's getting sort of flung around by this thing, bit down on, branches are flying at him, and as this is happening, you can see that he's using this new magic that he has, and then he's reaching, trying to get caught up in this thing. It's pinned his sword against his side. His rucksack, that's actually a wooden chest, is sort of all pinned tight with these vines and branches, and he can't get to anything, and he has this helpless look. And he just ducks back, missing that blow. There's that sort of whipping sound as it goes past his face. And he doesn't see the branch that comes in from behind and hits him right at the base of the neck. And anybody looking just sees Eli's body go limp in the tree. I am unconscious.
John, would you say you're at least 15 feet away from Eli?
Yeah.
You, all of a sudden, without you're going up, you're walking up to it, and all of a sudden you don't see the roots that have entangled themselves slowly, sinuously around your feet until it's too late. And all of a sudden, with a burst of motion, they come twisting all the way up you, and you are grappled by these twisting roots. All right, it is the hound's turn.
Okay, well that's not good. However, let me just check one thing real quick. I think the hound can just attack. Yeah, it basically just attacks. Yeah, so and Eli is unconscious, correct?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so yeah, the shadowy hound with these fiery teeth of teal-colored flame is going to lunge at the tree. That is going to be a 13 to hit.
That does not hit.
Okay, so I imagine it kind of, maybe it almost seems to react to Eli being on the ground, since it's sort of this weird extension of fell, and it sort of pulls up short when it sees the dwarf's body as the attack misses.
Right. Corla, it is your turn.
Oh dear. Yeah, she's gonna she's still focusing on the large tree. I don't think the little ones have done anything at this point, or if I even noticed that. But she notices Eli going limp in the tree, and so another arrow is going to be shot at it. Oh, that is a 17. Sorry, not a 17. That's a 7 plus 13.
13 does not hit.
No. Okay. And then seeing the roots grabbing Jean and realizing like we're in severe trouble here, she's going to basically like fling the short bow back over her shoulder and head towards where Jean is, drawing her I think she'll just pull out her short sword at this point.
All right. And is that your turn?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's my turn.
Right. Jean, you're going to take 9 points of damage as this thing slowly squeezes around you. You can feel the pain from being grappled.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
As I'm being squeezed, Jean will vanish in a puff of like mist and fog, and reappear elsewhere as I cast Misty Step to escape the grapple
Excellent. Okay.
as a bonus action. And then using my action, I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast again upon the greater mass of this thing. 2 beams come out. 24 to hit and a 10 to hit. So again, that's 1 hit.
Mhm.
For maximum damage of 13 force damage. And that's my turn.
All right. Fell.
Yeah, so Fell is going to fly forward. Imagine she sees Eli on the ground pretty quickly, and she's going to land beside him. And as these kind of jets of teal-colored fire coming out of her palms fade away, she opens her mouth, almost looking like she's about to scream, but instead this oily tendril of this black darkness emerges from her mouth, and she is going to burn 2 sorcery points to cast darkness in a 15-foot sphere, 15-foot radius sphere around herself and Eli, but she can see in it. The tree could not, though. So that is that thing. And then I don't know if you want to call this an item interaction or make it an actual action on her next turn, but she's going to pull out a clay flask containing potion of healing, and she's going to kind of prepare to give it to Eli. If you allow me to give it to it or to him, I could, or I can wait till my next turn. It's up to you.
I would say it'll be a bonus action to take it out and uncork it, and then another bonus action to actually give it. So.
Okay, so I would only have the 1 bonus action, so she'll pop that out, kind of hunker down over Eli protectively, and then she'll just be in this darkness bubble in front of all these crazy trees. And that is it.
Perfect. So, there are 2 trees on either side that are going to rush forward. 2 are going to go after Jean. 2 are going to go after Corla. Sue. Okay. So, Jean, I got a 22 and a 22 to hit, which I assume both of those hit you.
Yeah, they will.
So you are going to be taking 32 points of bludgeoning damage as these 2 things, these 2 trees just come and just slam into you. And then Horla, one got a 13 and the other got a 24 to hit. I'm guessing 13 does not.
The 13 misses.
And so that is going to be 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
I will use my reaction to dodge that uncannily and take half. So you said 15?
Yeah, 15. Right. All right. Next, we have Eli. You are unconscious. Please make me a death saving throw.
Only 1 die that I use for death saving throws. My Atcon 1 D20. That is a 3. That is a death saving throw failure for Eli.
Right. So the tree is trapped in the sphere of darkness. So I believe that is
It can still like attack and stuff. It's just it's all going to be a disadvantage.
right. Okay. Hello, Mr. Tree. Okay, I do have a question. So
No questions.
mechanics are hard.
They are hard.
So okay, the darkness imposes the condition of blinded, right? Or no?
Effectively, basically.
But if they're immune to that condition, are they still
Oh,
affected by the darkness?
Do they have like tremor sense or something like that, or blind sense?
It just says condition immunities.
Let me double check.
Under what does it say
think-
under senses?
Oh, hindsight.
Okay, then yes,
Then
that does nothing.
yeah, then they're
Never
not
mind.
affected by the darkness at all.
Yup. Well,
Right.
crap.
All right. So, this tree,
Sucks.
all right, this tree is going to start by grappling you, Fel. You see that its tendrils immediately come up and wrap around you. Corla, how far away are you?
I closed in with Jean because Jean was being grappled. So I closed in with where Jean was until Jean Misty stepped away.
All right. So you, in turn, you run over there. Jean just poof disappear, and you are able to you get there too late, and too late also you see that these roots are still moving, still combining, and it's almost as if they had formed around Jean, and you see them open up as almost like a hinge opens up, and it snaps around you, and you are now grappled. Fell, you feel a branch come slashing down at you. Sorry, that was the wrong dice. You feel a branch come slashing down at you for a 20 to hit.
That'll hit, and I won't shield it because that would make my AC a 20.
Right. That is going to do 20 points of bludgeoning damage to you. And then Corla, you feel being squeezed in. It's almost as if you feel a bunch of these. Actually, no, sorry. It is going to go after the. Yeah, it's going to go after the hound. It brings another branch down upon the spectral, or this hound of ill omen, for a 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
Just hits, and that is going to do 16 points of bludgeoning damage.
Gotcha. Again, I kind of imagine, or like to imagine, it's like it hits something solid in the shadow, and it kind of discopparates, whatever the word is, dissipates, and then it comes back together. And it is not looking great now. Discorporates. There you go.
And then Fel, you can see this maw, even in the darkness, you see this maw begin to open up wide, creaking as it does so, this very high pitch, and then it comes down upon you to bite, but you are able to miss it. All right, and that is the tree's turn. Corla.
I'm now grappled, right?
Oh, sorry, not Corla.
Okay.
Sorry, it is the hound's turn. Apologies.
Yeah, man, don't ignore my dog. All right. So yeah, the Hound of Ill Omen is just going to attack the tree. Can't roll for crap. That is a 10. So I think, again, maybe because it's sensing Fell's panic, the Hound's bite attack completely misses the tree. And that is it.
All right, Corla, you are grappled.
Actually, wait. I'm sorry. Because it has pack tactics, and I guess would Felt technically be within 5 feet of the tree?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, because Eli was there. So let me try and roll that again. That'll hit though. That's a 23.
Nice. Yep.
So I imagine again the hound kind of maybe spurred on by Fell's rage takes another attempt at this bite and it hits. Also, it needs to make me a strength saving throw, I guess.
Strength. Saving throw. Boop. It's a 10.
Interesting. So yeah, somehow this horse-sized shadow dog does, let's see, that's 13 points of piercing damage, and it somehow knocks the tree prone. I kind of imagine, can it be knocked prone? Is that a condition that it's immune to? All right,
Nope.
cool. Yeah, so I imagine these like fiery teeth sink into its side, and the hound just kind of slams its bulk against the tree, and it just falls over.
How much damage does it do in total?
13 in total. Yeah, and it's prone.
Excellent. All right. You now have a prone tree. But is it still grappling? I am unsure.
I mean, if the vines are like separate and stuff, then it probably
Yeah.
wouldn't affect that, to be honest with you.
It is separate because it can grapple multiple people.
Then
So, okay.
I don't think the vines would be affected by that.
All right. Corla, your turn.
It's just the big old trunky is on the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm grappled. I am going to try to break out of this grapple.
Right.
I'm going to try to. Can I try to wiggle my way out using acrobats? Acrobatics.
I don't. Oh, also, sorry, Corla, you are also going to take 11 points of bludgeoning damage. As it's like gnarling around you. Sure. Yeah, I would say yes. You can try to wiggle your way out of it.
It's not gonna matter. I rolled a 2 on the die, so that's a total of 6.
I imagine that as you try to wiggle one way, you find the vines are very good at like adapting to your body and kind of preventing you from moving any further.
Every time I move one arm, the other one tightens more, and every time I move, period, it gets tighter and tighter, and now you can't breathe. Yeah, it's not so fun. That's my turn.
Okay. Jean, your turn.
Stepping out of the mist of my misty step last turn, getting clobbered. Jean's face is bloodied. She reaches down to where her chest is and unsheathes a great sword made of blood from that cavity in her chest. Whoosh, and unsheathes it. And as she does, there's almost like motes of swirling crimson energy would swirl around her as she casts the spell Spirit Shroud, I believe is what it's called. As my bonus action.
What are you aiming at?
It's on myself. I call forth this necromantic power. Until the spell ends, any attack I make deals 1d8 extra damage. It's considered necrotic damage. Cool. Okay. So I then pull out this great sword of bite me, sir. And I will try to attack the tree, I guess, with my great sword made of blood.
You will have to make it at disadvantage, I believe, because of the darkness surrounding it.
Oh, okay.
Although technically, actually, because it's prone, if you're making, are you making a melee attack, John?
Yeah, it is melee. Yeah.
So then I think that would cancel out the disadvantage. So you'd actually just be at regular for that.
Regular. Yep, that's a good point. Thank you. Yep.
All right. 2 regular attacks.
Mm-hmm.
20 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And a 26 to hit.
The lowest hit. Yep.
So the first one is gonna do 14 magical slashing plus 4 necrotic for 18 total. The second one
You can. So this first attack will be the felling blow of this
Cool.
tree.
As I fell the tree, is there another target to attacks, or is it just this?
Yeah, there's those other baby trees.
Okay. If I'm gonna get my movement, I'll use my movement to for the second attack. Go to the that one. So that is 9 plus 1 for 10 total.
Damage? Yeah. 10. Perfect.
As Jean is just acting with great alacrity here, as she hopped out of that misty step that she did and get clobbered. She's in full clobbering time mode, I guess.
Sweet. Fel, it is your turn.
I assume because the big tree is gone, or the vine, or the roots, or whatever gone, or are those
Yes,
separate?
you are.
Cool.
No, you're no longer grappled.
Beautiful. So yeah, as she feels these roots sort of releasing her body, she is going to immediately use a bonus action, like you advised, to feed Eli the last health potion that she has, which is 2d4 plus 2, which is a whopping 5 points of health back. I imagine she kind of just like crams it into his mouth. She's like, come on. And then as soon as she sees that he's at least starting to look healthier and breathing, she is going to immediately, looking through her own darkness, she is going to fling another fireball at, I guess, the same baby tree that Jean attacked. So it needs to make me a DC 15 dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay. Um, 15 is what you said?
Yes, mine.
That got a 15 on the die for a 13 total.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, as again, this small kind of pea-sized ball of teal-colored fire zips out of the darkness bubble and detonates for 24 points of fire damage. As it does so, I imagine as the smoke is clearing, the hound is just completely faded away, and although no one can really see it, Fell's shadow has returned because the hound's target was destroyed.
Is it fire damage?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How much was that? Sorry?
24.
24. Damn.
Damn.
You can describe to me how you obliterate this baby tree.
Do they have like big mouths like the mama tree?
Yes, just
Cool.
tiny.
So as baby tree is being assaulted by Jean, I imagine kind of staggers back, its stupid little tree mouth open, and this little fireball zips into its mouth. It kind of closes the mouth, like stands for a moment, and then Jean, you just see it sort of erupt from the inside with this teal-colored fire and this black oily smoke as it just disintegrates into ash and chunks of burning wood. I imagine you just hear from inside the darkness, "Ha!" and that's it.
Excellent. All right. So these baby trees, now that their mommy tree is dead, are going to try and scream and run away, which will provoke an opportunity attack from Jean, Corla, and I believe that's it.
Nice.
That's a 26.
That'll hit.
How about a 16?
That'll hit.
Is there another person around me, around the tree that I am opportunity attacking?
Nope.
Okay.
I do
'Cause I
11 damage.
11? Okay.
Then I just do 10.
All right. Great. So unless you're going to chase down these baby trees, they are going to scatter into the darkness of the wood beyond.
Let's go.
Fell to your, you see that your horse that had fallen when it was struck by this tree has gotten up from a surely deadly blow from this tree, and it just gets back up.
I think you should be more concerned about Eli and just kind of look down and be like, are you all right? You got hit pretty hard by that branch. Can you walk?
think that's when you would see, as I sort of reach up for the back of my head, and moving, I grab at my abdomen and sort of up the side, and you could probably see all of the blood pooling from two very vicious bites that Eli took from this tree, where fragments of wood literally pierced through. And I imagine that little bit of healing from the healing potion was just enough to bring him back to consciousness and probably take care of a couple of the minor wounds. I just imagine Eli is in... Can't even really talk at this point. I'm very pale, lost a lot of blood, and kind of groggy and just...
It's right. It's right. Just stay still. You know, we were talking last night, you know, during our many deep philosophical conversations about getting you some better armor. We should probably do that at some point. And she'll kind of like awkwardly help you up as best she can. I imagine the darkness just kind of melts away, and she'll look to the other two and say, "We need to go back the way we came and get out of here. Fuck Strahd and whatever fucking game he was playing. We need to leave this forest." Clearly, he is not going to be doing any healing before we deal with this Van Richten problem. Could have just said it, jackass. Yeah, I should try and kind of like guide Eli. Should probably completely ignore the undead horse and just kind of go on foot if she can.
In my pack,
Oh,
left
right.
side, top compartment.
Is what, bandages?
No, you will find that there is a potion bottle with a shimmering red liquid in there.
Oh,
I have
Great.
a potion of greater healing in my pack.
all right. Yeah, she'll do that, and she'll kind of.
I mean, it's like twice the size of the one that you gave him.
It's a big ass healing potion right here. Drink it.
And yeah, I just sort of take it and just sort of bite the cork off, spit it up to the side, and I need Fel. You would see you kind of have to help, kind of lift the bottle up, and I will take 4d4 plus 4. I can't see these dice. That's 1, 4, 5, 6. 8, 9, 13 more points. And I imagine you see the color starting to return a bit, as this potion starts to take effect. But yeah, Eli's still in pretty bad shape, but a lot better than he was moments ago. Oh no. Sorry. Healing potions heal, they don't do damage. I hit the wrong button.
Oh no, it's a potion of poison. He's dying.
Could you go into my sack instead?
It's a potion of greater hurting. Oh no.
Oh, how could have something like that happened?
Oh no.
I totally didn't switch out his potions.
Oh no.
Nope.
It was not
I fixed
me,
it.
I swear
I fixed
did
it.
not do that.
So, as you all kind of backtrack, who is taking horses? Who is coming? Because I imagine you guys kind of all jumped off to fight this thing, but the horses are still there.
I'm totally taking horse. I'm not walking back. I'm hurting too bad, so I'll take horse. And if Fel's not taking her horse, I lead her horse.
I think Fel would just say, just be careful. If Strahd is the one that reanimated these horses, he may be able to control them in some capacity. That's one of the reasons why I'm not super interested in putting Eli on one right now. Just be careful. Scream if something terrible happens.
Unless you're planning on carrying me back up to the castle or wherever we're going. Better put
Going
me,
back to the fucking castle? You kidding me?
Better put me on one of them horses. Wait, are we not going back to the castle?
No, why? He's not here. Is he? He's trying to look around. It's foggy. Probably can't see anything.
Yeah, it's super foggy. Yeah.
He's not here. This is what I was talking about. We may not have privacy necessarily, but we have more privacy now because we are not in the castle. There's no point in going back. Unless we want to try and see if we can talk to him about this healing thing, though clearly he would not have let us here if he intended to do anything. I think this was just a giant middle finger, basically. Big wooden middle finger.
I mean, what's your fear of these horses? He's just gonna...
They are undead, typically, and I'm sure you as a monster hunter know this better than any of us. They are resurrected by a necromancer that controls them. Let's say we put you on one of these horses and it just starts galloping off into the forest where there are more of these tree monsters. You don't look like you could withstand another bite.
Fine, here.
I am right on occasion, Eli. I don't know.
You're right. Just hold on a minute. And I reach inside my partially shredded leather armor towards the lining, and you just hear this sort of something tearing off. And I tear off a yellow patch that has the silhouette of a horse on it. And as I flick it to the ground, a living riding horse appears. Help me up. This one is under my control.
Perfect. That coat is very useful. And yeah, she will do her best to help Eli up. I imagine, Eli, you're probably doing most of the work because she is not strong.
Yep, I just got to go in and mark off that I used the riding horse.
Jean, are you taking the horse?
Yeah.
How do I...
So, as some of you mount up on a horse, some walk, you make your way, I'm sure everyone is going quite slow, back the way you came, and you find yourself at some point, the path is fairly easy to follow. It doesn't really branch off at all, and soon you find yourself in the same clearing that Strahd had led you to, and it looks as though also the fog is just clearing a little bit. It's not as dense as it was in the forest, and you see a familiar silhouette standing just outside of the clearing on a ebony horse is Strahd, and he has this smirk on his face. Oh, I see you maintained all my horses and have a new one. Fascinating. Well, shall we return back to the castle?
Care to explain what the fuck that was?
Well, oh, you all look. He doesn't say, well, he just pauses and you all look a little worse for wear. Why don't you come?
Shit.
Come, eat. We can heal you back at the castle, and I will maintain my promise to heal Eli, if that is still what you wish.
Sure. What was this? Was this you trying to prove a point or make a point?
I believe those were trees
Right.
that attacked us.
Right. And you disappeared mysteriously, as if by magic, leaving us to fend for ourselves and nearly die, which, again, would mean that we couldn't help you with your Van Richten problem.
But you didn't die. Fancy that.
Fancy that. You get lucky sometimes, as I'm sure you know. It just seems a little odd. You want us to do this for you, and yet you thrust us, leave us alone in a very dangerous situation. Kind of odd.
Well, things are a bit different here, as you have very well noticed. Are you coming back or not?
She kind of looks at Eli and then looks to the others. I suppose we are.
Very well, then we should discuss this no further. I need everyone, please, to make an insight check for me. At advantage.
Ooh.
Guys, I got a 6.
21.
Ooh.
I rolled double 17s for a total of 25.
All right. I'm going to say, Corla and Eli, Corla more so than Eli, but Corla, you notice. Eli, you notice that there is something different about Strahd. There's a crack in his normally very confident exterior. Something is off from this morning. And as he turns, you can notice this. Corla, you also notice this. However, you notice that this crack, I would imagine after failing to get through to Strahd earlier, you see this the smallest chink in this armor and narrow in on it. And with your perception, you can see that Strahd is hurt. And that is where we're going to end our session.
All right.
So thank you everyone for joining in and listening to some people almost get beaten up by a tree. So
It happens more often than you might think.
So I believe that so thank you again to my players. You guys are awesome. This is such a fun game to run and see you guys playing it and interaction. It's one of my favorites. It's so good. And also, I forgot last session, but the last 2 sessions, Jake has been producing the stream. So thank you so much to Jake for doing that and helping out with some not so good internet on my part, so being in a different place. So thank you to Jake for producing it. And I believe that we have one game in. We'll have another month of not super consistent gaming, but hopefully when we get back into the new year, it will go back to a very consistent every other week schedule. So that will be exciting. All right, without further ado, thank you everyone and have a good night. See you guys later.